Hello, I'm Ed Peters from GE Coaching, and our friends at Iden University and EURAS have asked us as professional coaches to record some reflections on the current situation. I imagine it must be very difficult for international office staff. The whole core of your work, the business of student mobility, has been taken from you. And of course you have students in very different situations, all of which are very uncertain. Some want to come in next year but don't know how that will happen. Some are perhaps with you still and have been unable to go home. And there are others who have gone home who don't yet know how and when they'll be able to resume their studies. There's a great deal of uncertainty. And the problem with any uncertainty, it leads to a feeling that we're losing control. And the more we feel we lose control, the more then that anxiety, fear and stress take over. And of course, with many of us confined to our homes at the moment, and therefore working in confined spaces, there are opportunities for those thoughts to go round and round in our mind all day, and therefore make the feeling of stress and anxiety and fear all the worse. So the question for us must be, how do we regain a sense of control? That seems quite a perverse question to ask, because the thing that's out there, the pandemic at our gates, is something we can't see and we can't control directly. But there are a number of other things where we can attempt to regain some of that control, particularly working as a team. So for example, where you may be working with your colleagues remotely at the moment, bear in mind that that's actually a situation that not everybody finds easy to adapt to and easy to work with. So perhaps a thought for how people find this remote working and working together to build a way of interacting that everyone is comfortable with might be a good thought. As well as that, of course, we need to gain control of our routines, especially when we're in our own homes and there's so many other things around us and we're not used to working there. Put a routine in place so your workspace and your work time is under control. Perhaps time for other things as well, your exercise time, your time for dealing with friends, your time for catching up with those whom you can't see at the moment and perhaps are missing. Build that time in and create the routine around it. Think about your environment where you're working. Is it as tidy? Is it as work-like as you would like? The more we work in a mess, the more that we will feel we have control over nothing. So creating space, creating different areas around your home for different purposes might be something to consider. And then when our team is dealing with those students, how can we deal with them? Because the answer to most questions they might ask is, I don't know. And at the moment we have to be comfortable with the fact that we don't know. What can we do for them? We can't go through the normal administrative processes that perhaps we're very good at. They're very complicated, but we have that experience and we can't do it. What can we do? We can still talk to them. We can still connect with them. We can still remind them that we're interested in them. We can still remind them about what is good about coming to study at our university, what they have to look forward to at that point, hopefully fairly soon, where things will be clearer. As well as that, we want to recognise the fear they have. Let them express it, let them articulate it, and perhaps not articulate quite as easily our own fear in the process. We need to reassure them that we are and we remain on their side and that the university is committed to them. We need, in terms of our own academic staff perhaps, to think about how they deliver online. There's such wonderful work being done online at the moment to keep things ticking over. But of course there may be a big difference between somebody who teaches extremely well face-to-face but might find online teaching more of a challenge. And what can we do to help people build their skills so that we're not only doing this work but we're doing it well? And there is a difference there, let's work on it. As well as that, let's re-engage with people online, not just by connecting with them and checking how they are and reassuring them, as we said, but also perhaps using that opportunity not just to fill up their syllabus and make sure that keeps going, though that is important, but also to make sure that we use the opportunities to re-engage them with learning and the fun and the joy and the challenge of learning, perhaps by offering them other subjects that will help them indirectly, such as critical thinking, for example, or research skills, or perhaps even giving them the chance to learn things that are not part of their main course but might interest them. Why not? Why not re-engage their love of learning rather than just simply stick a syllabus online? We need to be realistic, of course, at every stage. Much as though we want to get through this and we want to see them happy and thriving at our universities, we have to be realistic in how we talk about it, realistic in the fact that it may not be a short-term fix, and, as we said, prepared to say to them, I don't know. But at the same time, let's use language that doesn't over-dramatise or catastrophise to the extent that it puts them off. Let's make sure that our language is as balanced as possible, and we're looking at the future in a balanced way, and we're inviting our students to adopt this sense of balance over the next few months, so they won't feel entirely given over to panic and stress and fear and looking only at the worst possible outcomes. So what we can do, I think, is recognise that once this is all over and we are all safe and well, hopefully, and continuing our work in education, I wonder whether the universities who really put their students' well-being at the forefront of their thinking now, how much better those students will feel about that university, how much better those universities will be thought of. Think of it perhaps that everything you do to support those students at the moment is an investment that will pay off when people start to look again in the future at which universities should I choose and why. In the meantime, keep yourself safe, and I do hope we will meet when we next present at EURAS or EURI, or when we visit universities in the coming months.